Hello crafters, Nicole here with another sketch starter. This one was inspired by a recent project, and it's not cheating, I promise. I recently created this project for a design team hop, and I loved it so much that I turned it into a sketch. This quick and simple design will become a real go-to for me, so I'm going to use dots and boxes and the birch forest stamp set to show you two new designs. I'm starting with some Winter Clouds cardstock, and I have this cut to the same size as the stamp, so I can't use my magnet, but it's no problem because as long as I have it in the corner of my MISTI, I'll be able to realign it if I need to. I'm inking up dots and boxes with the new Northern Shore inks, and I'm using Icy Water, which is the second color in the gradation. I thought I wanted to add a little bit more depth, so I'm going to turn this piece of cardstock 90 degrees. And I'm going to ink up again, but I'm using Arctic Mountain this time. And this is the darkest color in this family. And I think the two colors along with the purplish blue of Winter Clouds really looks nice together. It gives me some depth and dimension, but then it's a super easy background piece that I don't have to do anything else to. With the stamping complete, I'll be able to go ahead and cut this down to size. So I have it at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've cut out a center piece to match up with the sketch. I'm going to add in some extra dimension by putting in something completely opposite, which is the Enjoy the Ride washi tape. And this is the fresh pattern from that tape set. It's about 1 1/4 inches, and I want to bring it up about 1 inch from the bottom, just eyeballing exactly what I see in the sketch. Normally, I create my designs on a separate panel and then adhere it to the card base towards the end. This time, the project was so simple that I decided to adhere my washi tape directly to the card base and work straight from it. That means I wasn't able to fold the excess washi tape over the edges, so I just snipped them off using the card base as a guide. Because of the simplicity of the design, extra dimension is really something that's almost necessary. I have a few pieces of fun foam that I cut to size, and I'm adding them to the backs of my dots and boxes panels. This is going to give it a nice solid base to pop up both of those pieces and give the card some nice heft and really great dimension. Because of the size of that top panel, I was initially drawn to using fun foam over dots or squares or even strips of double-sided adhesive, because in this way I would have a smooth and even finish to the card without any little dips or valleys that can happen when you have little pieces of adhesive on the back of your panel. You can get these foam sheets in a lot of different ways. You can get them just plain from the craft store in any color and add your own adhesive to the back like I'm doing here. You can also get them with adhesive already on them, and it's a double stick adhesive, so you've got adhesive on both sides of the foam, and that usually works really well when you're trying to make die cuts from your double-sided adhesive. The third option is to use the foam from the craft store without the adhesive and then add your own double-sided sheets. There's plenty of places that provide you with double-sided adhesive sheets, including Altenew. For my sentiment detail, I've got a sentiment from Dots and Boxes on a strip of white cardstock, and I did that up in Obsidian Black. And I'm going to just add that across that center strip there. It's not indicated in the sketch, but since the sketch doesn't really tell you where to put your sentiment, it can go anywhere you like. I do notice that gluing to washi tape can be sometimes difficult. I prefer to use a liquid adhesive because it will stick better over time, but it does like to slip around a little bit, so be aware of that if that's the route you decide to go. And there's our first card finished. For my second design, I'm using the birch forest stamp set, and this time I have a piece of white cardstock cut down to size at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Again, I want to make sure that I have it lined up right in the corner, and I also want to make sure that I have the stamp lined up so that I get full coverage across that whole panel, since I won't be chopping it down later. I'm back into the Northern Shore ink set because I wanted a nice navy blue for those birch trees. Arctic Mountain seemed to be the perfect choice. So I've got that inked up, and I'll put down my first layer, and hopefully it'll turn out okay. If not, I know I can always stamp it again. I notice a few areas with some lighter coverage, so I get that cardstock right back into the corner and I re-ink the stamp set so I can get all of the coverage that I'm looking for. This second layer gave me exactly what I wanted, and now I can move on to finishing this card. This card is so simple that all I have to do is apply some washi tape and add a sentiment. I went for the Sweet Dreams washi, and because I have a 4 1/4 by 5.5 panel, I can just go ahead and add in the tape that I need to create that center strip. I love that this is transparent so you can see the background through, and as you layer it, you start to get darker areas that work really well to highlight the sentiment. So I go ahead and add in 2 pieces to give me the thickness that I'm looking for. And because this time I've created a separate panel from the card base, I'm able to flip that washi tape over the back to secure it into place. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add a sentiment in that blue space. I'll pick out one from the Birch Forest stamp set that'll fit in that center area that's darkest. This particular one seemed to fit in just right, so I've got it lined up here in my MISTI, and I'll grab it with the lid. I need to make sure that I add in plenty of anti-static powder because I'm going to be heat embossing over washi tape. Washi tape is notoriously staticky and loves to grab any kind of embossing powder. I'll go ahead and ink up the stamp in the embossing ink, and you'll be able to see the outline of it as I lift up the lid. I got a really crisp impression on the first try, so all I had to do was add in some white embossing powder, tap off the excess, and brush a few little strays away. Then it was off to the heat gun to finish off this panel. The last step was to add that card panel to the base, but I have a little bit of warpage because of the heat embossing. So I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive sheets to make sure that I get perfect contact and no warpage. Here's how I like to use these sheets. First, I go ahead and peel off one side, and I find the sticky side. And I just peel back enough to get it aligned on the back. I always cut my adhesive sheets slightly smaller than the panel that I'm working with, so I don't have any excess hanging over that would stick to anything else when it's done. I'll go ahead and rub that on there really nice and secure, and then I bring in my card base. Then it's repeating that process over again. Go ahead and peel back a little bit of the backing, and the sticky side is going to stick to the card stock that you already applied it to. So now I'll line this up really carefully with just that little bit peeled back. I make sure that the top is nice and aligned, and then I peel and press as I go. That makes sure that I don't get any air bubbles and that it aligns straight all the way down without any kinks in the paper. And now you can see that I get a beautifully aligned card. So there it is, 2 new designs plus the original inspiration. I'd love to see your take on this sketch, so be sure to snap a pic and share your sketch starter design on social media. Tag AltaNew, LLC, and Pixel Mavens Retreat, and use the hashtag AltaNewSketchStarters. I'm so glad we had some crafty time together. I'll be back soon with another sketch starter, but until then, happy crafting.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching!